Welcome back to another episode of Scary Story. And tonight's episode is going to be a good one. So make sure you like this video for more stories just like this. Now, this story was sent in by one of our subscribers, so thank you for sending it in. I thought it was really cool. Now, I am gonna read this story exactly how it was written. If there are any mistakes, I apologize. But let's get right into the story. It was 2012. I was 18 years old, and I lived in a city in Texas. It was around Christmas time, which brings me to my first memory of the house. My dad bought the home for $2,700 in cash from an older couple. The house had been in their family since the 60s. I remember, because they told us they were moving to Florida to live with their son, because they didn't want to shovel snow anymore. They gave us all these boxes filled with old family stuff that we could keep or throw away. We found a lot of weird stuff in those boxes, but we kept some things that we thought were cool, including an old projector and an antique TV remote. Who knew such a thing existed anyway? We set up the projector and watched old home movies of the previous owner's family, and they looked like they were having a great time. One of the movies showed a young girl who looked to be about 10 years old. She seemed to be standing next to her parents while they were filming. They were all smiling and laughing at something off camera. There was something strange about her, though. She had no pupils. In another scene, she was playing hopscotch with other kids, and in another scene, she was sitting at the kitchen table eating dinner with her parents. Her eyes were always black and soulless. After watching these tapes, I told my dad about the girl without pupils, and he laughed it off and said that it was probably just a malfunction. Moving on to the second story. We never used the attic during the time we lived there. I guess it was just a storage space for all the crap we got from the previous owners. It wasn't until months later that I decided to venture up there. The attic was hot and smelled musty. It had boxes stacked everywhere, and the only light came from a small window near the door. As I made my way through the boxes looking for something cool, I came across a diary. I sat down on a nearby box and began reading. The diary contained various writings, poems and drawings by a young girl. The handwriting was sloppy and childish. Some entries made me sad. They talked about being ignored and unloved. Others made me angry. They talked about how much she hated her parents. Then there were drawings of stick figures, a man and a woman being stabbed by a knife. These stick figure drawings freaked me out. I closed the diary and walked away. I couldn't take my eyes off the door. I ran down the stairs as fast as I could and slammed the door shut behind me. I never went back up there, bringing me to my third story. One night we were watching TV and heard what sounded like footsteps in the attic above us. We shrugged it off and continued watching TV. Then we started hearing loud banging noises. I distinctly remember my dad saying, "What the hell was that?" He grabbed a baseball bat from the corner and slowly walked toward the attic stairs. As he reached the top of the stairs, the banging stopped. A few minutes passed, and my dad came back downstairs. He told us he checked the attic, and everything was fine. He said maybe it was just a branch from a tree scraping against the roof. I wasn't convinced. Every night after that, we would hear the same sounds, footsteps followed by loud banging. Each time my dad went to investigate, nothing was there. After a while, the nightly disturbances stopped. Moving on to my fourth story, one day, while I was cleaning my room, I found an old showbox under my bed. Inside the box was a girl's clothing from the 1950s or 60s. There was also a pair of little girl's shoes. To this day, I don't know where the shoes came from. I asked my parents, and they had no idea what they were doing in my closet. Now, this next part isn't necessarily a ghost story, but it does have something to do with the house. While we were living there, my mom miscarried. We weren't sure if it was a boy or a girl. My dad told her that it was for the best anyway. He didn't want a baby, and neither did I. Although I did feel bad for my mom. When she lost the baby, she lost a lot of weight and became depressed. She would sit on the couch for hours, staring blankly into space. She would cry herself to sleep every night. I felt horrible. I was 18 years old, and all I cared about was playing video games and hanging out with friends. Looking back, I wish I had done more to help her. Now, bringing me to my last story about the house. It was around Christmas time, and my parents were fighting a lot. My dad drank heavily and would come home reeking of stale beer. One night he came home drunk and started yelling at my mom. He shoved her to the ground, and I ran over and started yelling at him. He turned to me and said, "Get the hell out of here before I knock you the hell out." I grabbed my things and ran out of the house and didn't look back. I called a friend and asked if I could stay at his house, and he agreed. I didn't tell my mom where I was going because I knew she would try to talk me out of it. I didn't want to stay away from home for long, but I knew I needed to get away from my dad. The next morning, I woke up at my friend's house and called my mom to see if everything was okay. He answered the phone and asked if I was coming home soon. I told him I was almost out of gas and was on my way. As I drove through town, I saw police cars and fire trucks surrounding my house. I turned around and called my mom from a payphone to ask what happened. She cried and told me that the house had caught on fire in the middle of the night. I raced home, but when I arrived, all that was left were charred pieces of wood and twisted metal. After the house burned down, my parents divorced. My dad married his secretary, and I haven't spoken to either one of them since 2013. I joined the army and moved out of state. All of the stress and tragedy from that year caused me to develop anxiety and PTSD. I'm still dealing with it today. Now, while writing this story, I came across this picture. This is the burnt remains of the house. It was completely destroyed. As I'm writing this, I can't help but wonder if the previous owner's daughter played a role in the events that transpired while we lived there. I can't help but wonder if she took her anger out on us by causing the house to burn down. Or maybe it was just a tragic accident. I will never know. That was the story from one of our subscribers. Let me know what you think happened in the comments below. Also, if you liked this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.